Hey guys, Pat here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm just trying to give this little Yanmar 1700, 1978. It's a 2TR17 engine, little two-wheel drive tractor I acquired with the airport property. That was included in the sale, so I thought that was pretty cool. Just to give you a little overview on what's been done with it, I guess it's had engine gone through and rebuilt, and something to do with transmission. You can tell some of the different gaskets and different things have RTV or some sort of sealer on there. Engine runs really good. See, the other day I was helping out a friend with a little brush hog on the back, and the engine started to overheat. Well, could just be because the tractor's getting overworked and it was getting hot. The engine ran fine and everything, except for it started to boil. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to just go through and give this thing a full service and hopefully rule out any issues involving clogged circulatory system with the coolant. Bad coolant, maybe there's no coolant in there. The tractor mostly sits over there at the hangar, so anyway, I thought I'd just go ahead and give it some love. It's running good, so I just thought I would go through and change the engine oil and also give the radiator flush and give it coolant. So yesterday I actually drained the radiator. It holds less than a gallon, around a gallon, about 0.8 or something like that, and flush that. So right down here is where you flush the radiator. So the radiator hose coming out of the bottom of the radiator itself, there's a screw. You just loosen that, a pipe clamp, you just loosen that and just pry that off and just drain your fluid out. And then what I did is several times I left the cap off and then flushed with a hose, flushed out the radiator. So I went ahead and ran the hose in here. Water obviously runs out on the bottom side of the radiator. So I took a garden hose and flushed out this radiator line, flushing this way, and that runs it through the block, and then back out this hose back into the top side of the radiator. After the water got cool again, I would reattach this hose and tighten the pipe clamp, and then fill the radiator back up with water, and then run the little tractor for several minutes to flush out any dirt. When the water started getting clean, what I did is I took this is a gallon jug, and this is white vinegar, and this was a full jug, and down to this point right here is how much it took to fill up the radiator. When I put the white vinegar in there, I would start the tractor up and let it run for 15-20 minutes, and then shut it off, let it sit, and come back in about an hour or so and start it again, let it run. I did that about 4 times and just let it sit overnight. And then this morning I got up, let it run, and went ahead and flushed and did several freshwater flushings on the engine by removing the hose clamp and removing it from the radiator, and repeating that process until where the water was clean coming out. So we'll go ahead and flush this out, because what I want to do, in addition to the vinegar, I just want to make sure that everything's cleaned out in there. I got some of this cooling system cleaner, and it tells me for a heavy duty cleaning, run the engine for 3 to 6 hours, and a light cleaning, run for engine for 10 minutes. But you know, this thing is a 1978, so I don't know what kind of love this tractor's been getting, if it's been getting a whole lot of love at all. So just better be safe than sorry. I bought the stuff, I might as well use it to its full potential. Now this is just water in here now, and that's all you do is just let that Let that drain. And see, the water is still a little bit dirty, so even after several different flushings, the water is still a little bit tainted. I'll let that drain for a little while. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm actually going to change the oil today as well. So right here is a 17mm drain plug. Drained the oil out of here. I think it takes less than a gallon, but I went ahead and bought 2 gallons of Rotella 10 weight 30 for diesel engines. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Hoy tractor. Maybe if I remember, I can give you some contact information from Hoy. It's Hoye tractor. And so they're pretty knowledgeable on these little tractors. So this is a little shop manual that I found on eBay. I've been looking around for a while and finally found this. And it's for all of the different models you see there. Now this doesn't say Yanmar 1700 on there, but a lot of the information is reciprocatory. It's a lot of the same stuff. Here's another one for a YM195 diesel. It's a bigger engine than this. A lot of the parts on these are interchangeable. But anyway, I do also have an old parts manual that I downloaded. This is for the Yanmar 1700, the YM1700 and the YM2000, and it just goes through and gives a parts breakdown. I love parts manuals, so you can hopefully get old parts numbers off of there and cross-reference them with some place like Hoy Tractor. If you go onto their website, they have a lot of how-tos, troubleshooting tips, and the like, and really encourage you to check them out. If you've got one of these little tractors and you run into an issue, those guys are really helpful. So this right here is the drain plug, and it's got a little rubber washer on there. Obviously you want to make sure you don't lose that guy. But I've also seen these that have the crushable copper washers, and some of them are underneath the drip pen, underneath the plate. So I've got the coolant drained, I've got it flushed. I'm going to put some more of that treatment in there. I'm going to put some fresh oil in here, and with some fresh oil in here, I'm going to take this up to temperature and just watch it. If there are bubbles in the radiator, it's an indication that the head got too hot and I probably have to change the head gasket. But I didn't see a whole lot a few little bubbles, but I was just thinking that was from draining. The bubbles seem to dissipate over time. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll fill this up with fresh oil after I change the filter. This is what I got from Hoy Tractor. Actually, I got 3 of these, so I always like to keep extra filters and oil and air filters on hand. And so I got 3 of these from Hoy Tractor. These are obviously Baldwin, the B179. Somebody put a Napa filter on here before, and that's a Napa 85347. Obviously it's a deeper filter. I don't know if that has any ill effects or not, if it filters better or what the deal is. But anyway, Hoy Tractor, they seem to know their stuff, so we're going to go ahead and go with what they recommend. So obviously this has to come off. So we'll pull this filter off. Now the other thing I also wanted to mention, yesterday I went through and just I sprayed a bunch of Super Clean on there with just a squirt bottle and a sprayer, washed the whole engine down and pressure washed it. Again, this is Rotella 1030, and that's what Hoy Tractor recommends, at least the fella I was talking to anyway. I use 1540 Dello on everything else that I have, but they recommended the Rotella, so that's what I'm going to use. Hey buddy, did you bring your little truck out? I got my helper here today.
Wow.
Changing oil, huh buddy? Are we changing oil? Yeah.
Yeah,
we're changing oil, buddy. We sure are. Okay. Now we got to take the dipstick out. Dipstick out, that's right. Fill this guy up with some oil. You getting greasy fingers? Yeah, if you're going to be mechanicking and doing stuff like this, you're going to get dirty fingers, huh? Yes, you are, huh? Okay, let's put that in there. I'll catch all the hell, that will. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Hook this water back up here. Tighten this thing up.
Alright. What's that, Papa?
That's grease, buddy.
Grease in the hole.
Grease in the hole, huh?
Wow.
There we go. Now I need my dipstick.
Wow. A dipstick.
Okay. You want to put that in there? Good job. Now take it back out again. Papa's got to take a look at it. All right, give it to Papa. Hand it to Papa. There we go. There, let me see that for a minute, buddy. Yeah, we don't have anything on the dipstick. We need to pour some more in there, huh? Oh, look at all that oil in there. I want to put it all in there. I don't know the exact capacity of this. So just kind of guessing at some of this stuff now.
What's that, Papa?
But right now we got a whole gallon in there, buddy.
What's that?
You got this covered or what? Put it all the way in, screw it all the way in. Okay, now take it back out. Now Grandpa's got to take a look at it. I hand her to Grandpa. There we go. Yeah, don't lose the gasket, huh? Here we go. We got some register now. At least it's up in a safe mark. Let Grandpa put this in one more time. You want to do it? Hand her to Grandpa. Well, by golly, we still need a little more in there, bud. Yeah. I'm glad I brought two of them then, huh? Glad I bought two of them.
Yeah.
All right, take that booger out of there. All right, hold on to her. See if Grandpa can do this without making a huge mess. Probably not. I just need about a quart in there. Are you doing a good job?
Mm-hmm.
You are? You are doing a good job. Right up to the top of the hash marks.
Wow.
Looking good, buddy. Okay, it's totally drained out, so I gotta put some of this stuff in there.
Wow.
Total cooling system cleaner. Okay, this is a pretty small engine, so I want to put all this in there. There we go. Now, some people swear up and down by putting distilled water in these, but I think the more important thing is not to put water in here. It's got a lot of minerals in it. So we're going to fill this up. Stick in the hose.
Wow.
All right, we're going to put this on, and we're going to let this thing run for hours and hours, buddy.
Yeah.
Double check the fuel.
Wow, that's a fuel. What's that?
Yeah, you got a hold of something that's greasy, didn't you?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you got it, man. Grandpa's going to start the tractor up. Shut the engine off because I forgot that I was going to change out this filter housing. The reason for that is this switch is hard to turn. This the sediment bowl here is getting kind of cracked up and weathered, so before I let the tractor run for quite a while, I was going to go ahead and get all this changed out. So this is this filter is FF3262. And also it says 6907 actually on the filter itself. So I'm not sure what's true and what isn't. So the way this goes together, it's only one way it can go together. There's a little rubber O-ring in here, and it fits up tight around this ridge. And it goes on like that. This goes on. There's a rubber gasket that comes with it. And then this retaining nut. Okay, that is in the on position, so I'm going to put this in the off position. Change this side out first. That way my hands won't be a mess when I'm doing this portion of it. But when I take this one off, fuel's gonna fly everywhere. So I'm gonna set that up first, get that out of the way. So how many of you guys think it's a bad idea to pinch off a fuel line like that, huh? Ah, how clean is that? Okay, that was not as messy as I anticipated it to be. Okay, pour all that out. Out with the oil while that's draining. Turn that on again. Alright, so what we'll do is this is in the on position. We'll loosen this up just a little bit. If we let the fuel in, don't see any more air coming out over the top of the filter housing, so that tells me that this thing is primed in here anyway. And dry it off, because when I start it up, I'll be checking this for leaks. Okay, this is the second day. So I put the radiator cleaner in the radiator yesterday and ran it for about 5.5 hours. Just let it sit and idle. So the water could circulate through the block and thoroughly run through the radiator. Drained and filled about 4 times, started up the machine and let it idle for a while. Probably about 5 minutes or so, and then I would shut it off again, and then again drain it through the bottom of the radiator through this hose, and washed it out with clean water, refilled it, and ran it about, I guess, for like 4 times. So the system should be fairly well flushed and cleaned as it's going to get. So using the white vinegar solution, I'd let that set for a day. And then also let the commercial cleaner do its work for a day. Kind of done my due diligence. And I think it's going to be as clean as it's going to get, minus changing out a radiator. Well, again, the only issue that I had was it overheating. I think I just overworked the machine, but that triggered me into just going ahead and changing out the coolant and also changing the oil. So the oil was a little bit low, but now I got fresh oil in it. It's topped off. So now we're at the point where we're going to put in, I think it calls for less than a gallon of coolant. So we're going to go ahead and again rinse this one more time. I still have the water in it from just a minute ago where I had the last flush. And so what I'll do is go ahead and flush this again. I'll rinse it out one more time with the hose and then fill it full of antifreeze. We're going to go ahead and get started by taking the hose down here at the bottom off and let that drain out, and then I'll flush it one more time just with clean water, and then we will let it drain, and then we'll put the 50% antifreeze in here. Now you can see it rushing through the block, coming down through the radiator and then out the bottom of the radiator as well. So it is circulating through. Now this doesn't guarantee that every tiny bit of the radiator is working. It could be plugged in different areas too. But just have to watch the temperature and make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. And we'll take the overflow bottle, dump it out, rinse it out. I was trying to look in there and see how clean the inside of the radiator was, and I don't really notice a whole lot of difference. But what I did notice when I was rinsing out several times, that the water was getting cleaner and cleaner each time I'd run it, stop it, drain it, fill it, and then run it again. That water was getting consistently cleaner. So I know that there's some good stuff going on in there. I'll just monitor it and make sure that it doesn't get hot. If it does, I might consider changing out the radiator. This little tiny radiator doesn't look like it's that difficult to change out, but this one here still looks like it's in good shape. I did notice that the front of the radiator it had a bunch of grass and stuff like that on this little screen, and so I went and took a water hose. I didn't take a high pressure washer, but just took the water hose and washed that out well. A lot of dirt and stuff like that came out of here, so I'm sure that that had a negative impact on the cooling capacity of the radiator itself. So I got this cleaned out pretty good, pretty happy with that. So now we're ready to go ahead and fill this after we reconnect the radiator hose to the bottom side of the radiator. And we'll get this hooked up. Radiator hose hooked up to the bottom of to the bottom side of the radiator. I've had this on and off so many times, it's getting to be pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and run the engine for a little while, let all the air bubbles work out of it, hopefully. Well, that concludes this little service for this machine. So hopefully if you guys got one of these little things, you're snooping around the internet looking for ways of doing it. Well, this is the way I did it, and it seems to be working. So what have we done? We've changed the oil, we've changed the coolant, we've flushed the coolant, we've treated the radiator. We changed out the fuel pump a while back because it wasn't going. I couldn't get the other one going. So I got a new aftermarket fuel pump from Hoy and got that installed a while back off camera. And we also just installed the fuel filter and the fuel filter housing. So other than that, the tractor's in really good shape. I think the next time I go to do a little bit of more mechanical work on it, there's a grease zerk a couple of grease zerks actually I need to get and replace. Wheel bearings and everything like that seem pretty good on the tractor. They still have the original tires on there, and they got a lot of dry rot, so we're gonna have to change those out, put a new air cleaner on it. I gave it a good bath using pressure washer and some grease cutting detergent, and also replaced the battery with a C31 size C31 group battery, and it fits right in there perfectly. So if you guys are wondering if a large battery will fit in these little tractors, yes it does, and it adds a little bit more weight to the front because it can be a little bit front light. Hopefully this video kind of helps you guys get a little bit more familiar with the tractor. I think that if you can get one for the right money, it's a strong, heavy-duty little tractor. So thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.